The music you listen to says a lot about who you are. In this podcast, we discuss how that music may shape your life. We talk to normal people with a love for music and people that are in the music industry in one form or another. My name is Craig Seibert, and we want to know your music story. Welcome to Music Musing. Welcome back to Music Musing. I have Brent Schlinker on the line again.
Hello.
And I think we're past pain at this point on these. We were talking just before we came on. I literally spend the next week trying to get these songs out of my head. Not that I don't like the songs, it's just like, yeah, they're stuck there. I just listened to them so many times in so many different ways.
That's because we've picked out the perfect earworm songs.
That's true. That's 100% true. We have picked songs that are extremely catchy and good. So good point. And tonight is no exception at all.
No exception at all. Yeah.
So we're actually looking at the title song of the second highest selling album in history. Yes, it is.
I did not know this. Okay.
Under Thriller, or maybe that's the Hotel California. It might be Rock. Either way, it's second on one of the lists of the top songs selling albums ever. Back in Black by AC/DC. And I am a huge AC/DC fan. When I was younger,
we've gone too long, but we're glad to be back.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yes. Way too long. Yeah. This pandemic resurging again has put everybody back at home again. So I'm doing a lot more work. But anyway, I digress. I'm a huge AC/DC fan. I've collected AC/DC albums and memorabilia for years. I had an original box set when it first came out, album box set. I've definitely also made clear on my podcast at some points in time that I'm actually not a huge fan of this album. This album felt, I know. You should go back and listen to the episode and see what I say about it.
Yeah.
I have. I think it is a good album, but I think it is very, very overrated for what it is. I think it was a timing thing. I think that album was totally Bon Scott passing away and them writing a truly good rock album in light of that. And I think if that hadn't have happened, Back in Black would never have happened. And that everybody can just say that, and that's the truth.
But isn't that kind of the case with all of the most popular songs and the things that rise to the chart? It's always a timing thing and a situational thing and a context thing, and it was the right song at the right time and the right groove and the right genre, and it just feels like you could say that about every single top 100 albums.
I'm not arguing that. I would definitely say that that's it, but I think it gets more accolades because of that the songs are solid, but they're just not, over the top or You Shook Me All Night Long is a classic. It's going to be something that is going to be at the top of everyone's, a stripper dance list, wedding and final dance. Take your pick of whatever party you want to put it in. It's going to be in there. You Shook Me All Night Long. But maybe it's just in particular the song Back in Black that it just doesn't. I love the song. It's great. It's good, but it just seems like it's overdone for me. So my feelings aside, I still like the song, and we listen to a lot of covers on this one.
And there are a lot, but it's one of those songs, we should just get this out right in the open right away, that when you're looking for cover songs, especially unique metal cover versions of a metal-ish song, they're hard to find, but there's a boatload of them out there that are just the band doing an encore song at a concert live, and they do Back in Black. Right. Or they do, or, something like that. Or it's just part of their set and they do a live version that just happens to catch fire and it gets popular on the internet or whatever. And that's not really the original thought behind this particular podcast cover conversation.
Exactly. And I like the fact that we've taken really different genres. I've looked back at the 4 songs again, and we can, the Look and the Aha song were kind of close a little bit in their time, but then we really jumped to a very classic, a blues song. And then we come to a rock song, which I think you're right. I think the one big challenge was finding something that pushed AC/DC out of rock or into metal or away from rock, because it's hard. It's already a rock song, like you said. But you're right. But like the first one on the list you put was Joe Lynn Turner and Phil Collen singing, the guitarist from Def Leppard playing and singing it, and it was like, it's just the song. I
Yeah,
mean, nothing stood out. It wasn't, it was a good rocking version. I just think that the
without a doubt, yeah.
guitar, yeah, it was just it felt like, 80s 90s guitar where they were just putting, fills in everywhere and leads in everywhere, and it was like, okay, it's Back in Black, I get it, whatever. And it kind of falls into what you said though.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's always that one song that's just a great party song. It's a great groove song. It's a great jam song.
Yep.
So if you've got a bunch of musicians who are good enough to just kind of to just wing it with each other, you're always going to pick a song, right? And if you've got a
Yep.
bunch of rock players together, they all know Back in Black. So of course you can just say, yeah, let's just kick Back in Black in. The guitar kicks it off, whatever, and everybody just jumps in and you just start jamming because everybody knows it.
Yes. And the ticking at the beginning is so. Let me to that. You know what? I'm going to go off on a tangent. That ticking at the beginning is actually something hard to do with the guitar. It's hard to get that sound right. Like if you know what you're doing with guitar, you can do the little chunk on the strings, and it makes it not make a note, and you're kind of palm muting. And that intro is actually not as easy to play as one would think. I mean, that little bend and trill that comes after the dun 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 dun, and then you got that little trill and bend there that kind of, it's a bluesy bend into a half step. The notes held a half step longer. It's not that easy to play. You really got to work at it. But you're right. A lot of guys learn that because it is an easy song to party to. It's an easy song for everybody to get into.
Well, yeah, and most players, when I hear, just you go to a wedding or something, or you go to a
Yep.
bar and there's a cover band or something there, and they play it, most of those guitar players don't get it right, right?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then and
they,
about right about that riff, because what they'll do is they'll play it just as a straight blues on the beat and whatever, and there's a piece of that riff that is just you could probably explain it better than I can, but every time I play it, I can never get it just right to that has that same feel and that same groove. It always just feels just off.
yeah.
And to,
And
to
that's what.
get it exactly the feel the way that he does it, it's really hard.
Yeah, and like I said, that's kind of what it is. It's a half note hold where he's holding, not hold, but it's a half note or a note where he's holding it almost a half note or maybe even a quarter note past when it's supposed to move to the next note, and it just gives it that loose feel to it that it's so hard to replicate. And I've tried 100 times. I don't, I who doesn't want to play that song? But I've tried 100 times, and I'm the same way with you. I just can't get that sound
Well,
right.
it's
But
funny too. If you listen to him play it live on a live version, like in concert, if
yeah,
you look at some concert footage, every once in a while he doesn't get it the
yeah.
way that they recorded
It's
it.
true. I did that too. I did that too. I went and looked at some live ones of them doing it. I'm like, yeah, he's kind of struggling with it too. So I don't feel so bad. He wrote the song.
Yeah, yeah, but
um,
that's the part that makes it so cool, though. I think, right? Because if you do play that riff just straight, it
yeah,
doesn't have the same feel. It
right.
absolutely doesn't.
Yep.
So,
And so and then you move into the next one you put on the list, which as soon as I saw the people doing it, I'm like, what? Nas and Santana. And I'm like, okay, we're we've chosen to do this as our podcast
Brent's gone
ideas.
off the rails again.
I'm gonna listen to it just to see. It was actually really good.
Right?
I didn't actually put my comments in our notes because I really wanted to talk about this song. It's actually really good. And it's funny too because my wife and I were in the car and she's like, "Okay, well, what are you guys doing?" I'm like, "Back in Black." She's like, "Okay, let's listen to the list." So I put the list on, and she listens to it, and I said, I it was a surprise. It's like, listen to it, tell me what you think. She's like, "Who is that singing?" I'm like, "Well, why don't you guess?" And I don't remember what she guessed, but I'm like, "No, it's Nas." She's like, "Oh, I kind of hear it." And then she's like, "Well, is it AC/DC doing the music then? Or are they doing the guitar?" I'm like, "No, it's Santana." She's like, "I don't hear Santana in that." I'm like, "If you listen closely, you can kind of hear Santana in it, but it is definitely a stretch for him playing this song."
Well, yeah, and he did. So the reason why I knew about it was because he did a whole album of covers with
Okay.
special guests on each cover.
Okay.
And I can't remember when he released it, but I remember seeing it going, "Oh, originally found out about it because of one song,
Okay.
liked it so much. I'm a big Santana fan. I always like stuff that he does,
Yeah.
so I'm like, I'm just gonna get the whole album, just download the whole thing. I don't care. I'm just listen to the whole thing. It's got to be good."
Yeah.
And then I remembered hearing that he did a version of Back in Black, so I'm like, all right, I have to go find that now too. And yeah, it's good. It's really good. Like I put it in my notes. I really love the backup singer. I think
Yeah.
she adds the punch and that
I I
uniqueness that I keep looking for
yes.
in these songs.
Yes. Yeah, I would definitely say that the backup singer, and it was obviously it was unique anyways, but
Oh
her
yeah.
take on it was kind of even pushed it further. It felt a lot like the Limp Bizkit feel, the Anthrax and Public Enemy crossover, the Aerosmith and Run DMC crossover. It felt very thought through, like they
Yeah.
really thought it through, this how this arrangement was going to be. A little long in the solo and stuff at the end, with Santana, but you're talking about a guitar god at that point. So
Yeah.
he's gonna let him kind of do what he wants at that point. But it was good. I actually listened to the live version too, and the live version was pretty close to the recorded version. It was really good.
I didn't even listen to that one. Yeah, I really liked it. And it just obviously because it's Santana, but I also thought it was just really well produced too. That's the
Yes,
part
it
that
is.
I was looking for, have been looking for in all of these songs is just a really good production version of a cover.
Yep.
And this one fit the bill really well.
So what else? What other ones stuck out to you as being further away from the original? And
Oh,
well,
good
obviously
lord,
the
we've got at least half a
well
dozen in here that are
well
way
that's why I said what stuck out. Well, let's look at the orchestra ones, because you
Oh
put
yeah.
two of them on there, and well, I'll let you talk about it first. There was the black was orchestra ensemble is just what it was called, and then the other one was Damned Anthem.
Yeah.
So why did you put these on there? Because
Well,
I
so yeah,
good.
so I think I mentioned this the last time I put like a cinematic trailer
Yeah.
version of a song on there, but I love those productions. I love the way these guys that are good at making those
Yes.
just have a feel for the emotion of music and what it does and what makes a movie trailer really cool. But I think that that style has become such a genre in and of itself because of the internet and because of YouTube and because of motivational videos and all that kind of stuff that's so popular right now. And so to hear it um in that style, I was really happy to see it. I didn't think I would find this song
For
in
this
that
song?
style.
Yeah. So I would say that when we did the Take on Me one, the Take on Me one you put on the list of the orchestral was amazing. It blew me away. I think it sucked me into the rabbit hole that you went down in that in those types of music, and I was really excited to listen to it. And when you put one on there, I'm like, "Oh, he's got a good one." So I'd actually listened to Damned Anthem first, and I think your assessment was exactly my assessment. Is it was just it was too much. It was my quote, my little note was it felt like I was watching or listening to Blue Man Group.
Yeah.
I felt like I was listening to a Blue Man Group recording where they just overdid the whole thing. There was so many drums in it. And there was so much moving around.
Yeah,
I
yeah, they just it wasn't. I mean, it had some the variety was good, I thought, and everything,
yes,
but it wasn't really what I was hoping for. I think I had a
right.
little bit higher expectations.
Which so the orchestral ensemble one that you put on there. Now, that one I want to talk about for a second.
Yeah,
So
so you know what? Let's do. Give me one
go,
second to go back and
yep,
listen to that one because that's
let's
one
do
I
that.
didn't go back and listen to.
So before we do that, I'm going to tell everybody that we're going to put the links to this. We're going to the YouTube. We'll have a list, a YouTube mix list, and a Spotify mix list, and you can go listen to these. But we're actually going to pause and go listen to it. Let you listen to it. So if you want to find it, it's the orchestral ensemble one. And if you listen to Damned Anthem, you can at the same time as the one we just discussed. But let's pause for a second. We'll do that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so back to orchestral ensemble. What I'm gonna talk first.
Okay.
I think that this is the perfect fit for the genre that we've dug into when we talk about this, because the essence of the song was there, but they really made it a new song.
Yeah.
And I noticed that the classical versions, even of other songs we've listened to, and just me personally listening to other classical versions of other songs, they just kind of take the song and do it with instruments. And Metallica is kind of famous for that, is kind of taking their music and just putting the instruments behind it. I felt they actually created a new song out of this, but it still had the essence of Back in Black.
Yeah.
And it was amazing how they warped it into something that felt like a traditional classical music piece. But every once in a while, it would just be like, oh, that's still Back in Black. I could still hear Back in Black in that.
I've still got it. I think
Yeah,
that's one of the wonderful things about um, orchestra is all of the different musical choices
yeah,
that a composer has available to them. It's not just I got some drums, I got two guitars, I got a bass player, and I got a vocalist,
true.
and maybe we can overtrack some of these guys and come up with a song. It's no, I got a whole string section. I've got
Yeah.
horns. I got a whole percussion section. I've got oboes. I've got, everything you can possibly imagine that makes a noise, available to you. And so, to be able to take a simple song and recreate it, a simple rock song, and recreate it as an orchestral version, I think is probably more complicated than it sounds just
Well,
because of
but
all the different options.
so I agree with that, but I felt like things that people that have done it in the past have just taken, okay, so now we're going to double the guitar, so let's put the strings on it,
Yeah.
and the strings can just play it at on a violin that's the same level area of a guitar. We're just going to kind of match it and just play along with it. They really, like, they took all the tools, it felt like, in this one, like you said about the tool,
Yeah.
they got so many tools to work with. It felt like they took all of them and put it into it, and all of them and wrote parts into it. Like, there was parts where I didn't I heard, I think it was a timpani drum in there that was matching like the bass line. And I'm like, okay, drums and bass are kind of close. They kind of work with each other occasionally anyways, but to just hear that they really took parts and kind of pieced them out and then rewrote them was very, very, that that honestly, of all the ones we've heard on here, and again, I like this song quite a bit, even though I feel it's overplayed. This was the most impressive for me. Seriously.
Nice. Yeah. It was good.
So what else we got on the
You
list?
Oh, man, we've got far too many.
So Jackal, you put the Jackal one on there, and okay, story time. Um, I got to see Jackal in the '90s at a 3-day concert called Livestock in Zephyr Hills, Florida, um, with full chainsaw. I don't know if that means anything to you, but
Oh,
yes, they
yeah.
they use chainsaw in a couple of their songs,
Yep.
and got to see them. And wow, they're a sight to see. So I knew that at some I was kind of hoping this would show up on the list, but in seeing them and live, and then listening to it here, I've always felt that he had a great mix between Brian Johnson, Bon Scott sound. Like, any of the songs they did kind of had that growly, raspy sound that Brian Johnson and Bon Scott both had, but it was a perfect mix between them. But wow, it's it they must have done this in the 90s or late 80s because it was you could definitely hear it. Wow. And I didn't expect I mean, I expected nonetheless of you to put this on there. I mean, I knew there would be a good 90s hair metal version of it or 2.
Well, yeah, it's like it has to be a part of the mix, and I do encourage everybody to listen to it because,
Mm,
whether you're a fan of Jackal or not.
it's on the list. We'll let them decide if they want to based off of our input.
Yeah, so the one right on the list right after it. So
Okay.
in kind of in keeping with the whole way out in right and left and way out in center field, all over the field, like
Okay,
with the
we're gonna
orchestra version, there's the Rockabye
I
Baby.
I'm gonna have to stop and listen to this one. So,
Okay.
what'd you say? It was Rockabye. Is it Babel or Baby?
It's
Oh, is it
Rockabye.
exclamation?
Yeah, it's an exclamation point. It's
Oh,
Rockabye
jeez.
Baby.
Okay, so we're gonna pause, and I'm gonna listen to this, and we're gonna come back and talk about it. So we're pausing.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Wow. I
I
must
don't
have
know what
skipped over.
percussive instrument they're using to make that little noise in the background, but it sounds like a frog croaking.
Wow. I must have skipped that one when I was listening through these, but wow. Okay. Everybody's
Hey,
got
listen,
their
if you're gonna
thing.
put your baby to sleep,
Yeah,
right?
it's why not? I mean,
Why
you're giving
not?
it's okay. It's not bad. I mean, it's not. It's is that an egg shaker that they're
Uh,
using in that?
I'm
Because
sure it's some kind
and
of
a toy
shaker.
piano. Wow. I mean, so talent. I mean, those guys are talent. They again took an arrangement, and put it to a toy piano and some type of maracas or shakers or something. And again, it's not bad. And if you're going to let your child listen to something, there's no reason you can't do that. It's nice and calming and soothe, which is totally opposite of what the song actually is. But
That's the
so
beauty of it, though.
So you you kind of I'm going to give behind the scenes of what when we build these lists and we talk about them. So we actually share a Google sheet back and forth, and we put the music on it. You'll fill it in, kind of give me your ideas, and then I'll listen to it, fill it in, and then I'll add some songs after the fact. But we're going to talk about one here at the end that's the live version, but we kind of avoid that, and we also kind of avoid the really bad versions on here as well for the most part. How did this make it on the list? Is it
With
just because it was interesting?
the
Yeah,
Rockabye Baby one?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, just because I thought listen, I figured if I'm gonna be able to if I'm gonna put orchestra and cinematic trailer on there, you know,
But we had precedents for that. I mean, right, this was like and you
well,
even put not
then I'm
sure.
setting a new precedence. The baby
Oh,
songs
no.
get to be on the show.
Oh, no. Oh, boy. You even put not sure why I did this on there. Okay, so I just honestly, though, like I said,
Yeah.
it's actually kinda cool to sit and listen to these different ones, and the one right after it actually is a good one too. Meta Fump?
Yep.
Meta Funk? Funk?
A
Funk?
funk
Funk?
version of
Eh,
AC/DC.
it
Yeah.
was look, this is contender with the orchestra version because this was really good. Um,
Yeah.
and I'll put down exactly I'll even say what I put down. When I this is what I look for when I crave or what I crave when I go looking for cover songs
Yep.
in the genre. For some reason, funk musicians can take a song and just do complete justice to songs like this.
Yeah.
Complete justice.
Well, funk is weird because funk works so well with rock songs.
Yeah, oh yeah, because of
Mm,
timing, yeah.
yeah, it just does. And it, it- but they take it to a whole nother level, to a whole nother place by just funking it up a little bit.
Yeah, I think the only reason this song drifted down on the list a little bit for me is that I felt like towards the middle of the song, or towards even just before the middle of the song, kind of got to where it was the middle of the original song. It started to lose connection to the original song. I felt like it was kind of drifting away and making its own song of it. Where the orchestral one did it as well, but they just kept giving hints here and there. This one
Yeah, they
kind of
kept coming
really
back
took off.
to it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
this one really went off until almost to the end, like the last 10th of the song. They really kind of brought it back around and let you know that it was still Back in Black by AC/DC, but this one drifted way off. And again, I'm not upset about that. I just think it came down further on the list than the ones that really kind of pay homage to it on a regular spot throughout the whole
Yeah,
thing.
for
So,
sure, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And
Uh,
sometimes it can get, if you don't, especially with funk songs, if you don't add some variety and some mood and some a little
Changes.
bit of adjustment, some change ups to it,
Yep.
it can get old really fast.
Yep, I agree, 100%. Yeah, I think that's what happened in this one. Well, no, because they did kind of veer off and make it a lot of different, a lot of changes, but I think just went too far with it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was still high on my list of things. So, and you did have to dig deep for that one. I see that you had to dig deep.
But it did pop when as soon as I hit play on that, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, this is what we go
Oh.
for."
What else is on the list? To jump completely off of the list and just talk about what we're doing for a second. I, you know, I've covers have definitely been something that I've loved pretty much since I started listening to music. When I was in a local band, we really chose the covers that we wanted to play very specifically to both tailor to our skills and songs that we all loved and that we all put together and loved. And we played Black by Pearl Jam, and we played Paranoid by Black Sabbath, and we actually played Turn the Page, but we played the Metallica version of it because it really kind of fit what our band was. But doing this exercise, it was your idea to do this, but it was like, yeah, I'm totally on board because this is something I love as well. And I think this is something that I could honestly do probably till the end of me doing podcasts at this point. And, I think that this exercise is also good for my mind because Black and Black came out in 80, 81, somewhere in that area. I think 80 or
Yeah,
one, because Bon Scott died in 79. So it wasn't very long after
I
that.
think it was 80, yeah.
Yeah. And to have this song rattle in my head forever and maybe hear a occasional cover here and there or another live band or something that we were following up or something that did it. Um, the exercise of taking these songs that I've heard a million times and putting them going through and finding everything that's out there. Like you said, it's so easy to do that stuff in the digital age now. It's so easy to jump on YouTube or to jump on Spotify and find all these obscure bands doing
Yeah,
these songs that I've listened to a million times.
yeah.
And yeah, just slight appreciation, Brent, for kind of coming up with this idea and doing this. But I just wanted to step off that and say that I think this is one of the best exercises I've had in doing this podcast. So
Good, I'm glad. Yeah, it's fun. It is, it's really fun to hear other musicians with a take. I mean, we're old now, right? So we're old
yeah,
guys. So the music we like is super old. So of course there's kids discovering it for the first time going, "Oh, holy smokes, have you heard of this band called, Rush or
yeah,
Black Sabbath or oh my gosh."
yeah. I think I left the one off. Yeah, I actually found one that was three girls doing it that were under they might have even been under teenager, but I know they were at least under 18 at this point doing a version of
Oh,
it. I didn't put it on there because, we kind of talked about that last time, but man, there's kids that just adopt this sound and this feel. And you're right, but I think that's the best part about this exercise is that we're taking older songs. Like there's some newer songs out that people have covered and done different or made them sound a little bit different, or they've even, other musicians have worked with other musicians and kind of come together and done one of the original musician's songs. But to take these older songs that we've been accustomed to and used millions of times and listened to the car a million times and put a cassette, record, CD, digital, whatever on a million times is definitely why I'm continuing to do this. And um,
well, I appreciate you continuing to do it and enjoying it too, because
yeah, it's stuck in your head. I mean, you got to get it out somewhere, right?
I do have to get it out.
So let me turn that on its head though. And did you listen to the Wing version?
I did I think I did.
It's very MIDI sounding, and again, us guys like at our age are the only ones that kind of understand
Well,
that. But
maybe it
you wanna take a break and listen to it
oh,
because
ha! Yes, I did.
Okay. Do we even need to talk about that? Because I really put it on there
Okay,
for
so it's 8-bit, right? It's computer, it's 8-bit, right? It's like if somebody
the
was gonna do
music.
Back in Black as a 8-bit on
The
an
music.
8-bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's MIDI. It's
Yeah,
MIDI
it's
sound. Yeah, exactly. So yes,
old
it is.
old old school Atari. Like
Yes.
you've only
Yes.
got so much data to work with, right? It's
Yes.
totally 8-bit, like just like graphics, the old music back in the day, you've got only a certain number of tones. If you were gonna do an old, MIDI
But
tune, this is
but
it.
but her singing is like it's like nails on chalkboard. Do you not remember her singing? You
Oh, I
need to
was just
listen to
gonna
this
say, I
again.
don't think I
You need to
listened to it
listen to
long
this
enough
again.
to get to the
We
voice.
we
All
need
right,
to
let's
okay, we're
stop.
pausing. We're pausing
Okay.
and we're gonna listen to the wing version of Back in Black. We'll be back. Now say what do you think about it?
Oh, shit. Okay, that one can go bye-bye.
What you said off screen though was that if it would have been
Yes,
all 8-bit, it would have been fine.
it would have been fine. Yes, I take her voice out of it, and I would have been like, "Yeah, that's totally cool." It's somebody taking a little tiny toy synth, you
Yeah,
know?
I didn't get a
Well,
crazy opinion on her on our spreadsheet, so I knew that you probably hadn't got to that point where she she was and I honestly, like I said, I think it might actually be a joke, like they're either doing that on purpose to make it sound so really stupid, or they like you said, they put somebody up to it and they just didn't know what they were doing or something.
yeah.
Um, and you also left Leo off our list. Leo's like our
I don't know how I
mainstay.
did that. Yeah, I was telling you earlier, I don't know how I left
But
Leo off. I think I didn't want it to get old, right? Because
yeah,
he's covered. I'm guessing every single tune we pick, he's gonna have
it's probably
covered it.
covered, but for a reason, right? This one was lackluster. It wasn't. I mean, he had another guy come in and do some. I don't know what he. I think he did the guitar work on it, but it wasn't. I mean, it's his screamo version. It's his death metal version, which it
Which
was
is what we're
cool.
kind of
Yeah,
looking for,
yeah, it was.
You got to admit, we're looking for heavier.
Yeah,
At least that was my original thought, was heavier, heavy metal versions of
yeah,
older tunes that maybe weren't quite so heavy. Then somebody
yeah.
has taken them up to 11,
And and
and he
and he
does
did
that.
it. Yeah, he does that. I just don't I like he's done a version of, Sultans of Swing before that I've probably mentioned before that he does on a
Yeah,
site, but it is amazing. It is far enough away from the original but still his genre and his style, and it's amazing. I love it.
he's
Um,
just such a great producer. I mean, I think
yeah,
that's the thing that
producer.
just kicks it.
Yeah. Yeah,
No
that's what
matter how funny he tries to make it, or more of joke he tries to make what he does, and play it up on the visual side of it, it's still fantastic audio production.
yes. Yes, his production level is way above a lot of other people's production level in there. But he's an audiophile. He does that. So, two more I want to talk about in particular, and then I'll kind of riff off a feeling that I've got for one of them. You put an acoustic version on there,
Which one was that?
Janelle Garcia. And actually, the note I put in there is going to lead me to believe to talk to you about something I feel about music in general. But you put an acoustic version on there, and I listened to it, and you're right, she's talented, but
I
honestly, I didn't like it at all. It was too
Too mushy. Is
no,
she
no.
softened it up too much for you?
I think it goes back to what I was saying about the difference in the orchestral one from this and whatever one we had there where they kind of just played along with it. I felt like
Yeah.
they were just playing along with the music and she was just singing the song. Like it was a feature for her voice. You mentioned that about one of the other ones
Yeah.
she was on there and the music was well half produced and lackluster, but her vocals stood out. That's the way I felt about this one. I felt like
Yeah, and I think that's why I did put it on there, was be just for exactly that. I mean, I think first of all, a song like Back in Black, who would even think to turn it into an acoustic
agreed.
guitar version? And then if you thought to myself, I'm going to challenge myself and do an acoustic guitar version, where would you even begin? And how could what
Yeah,
to think
agreed.
through that process? I think takes a lot of creativity and talent, and then she did such a good job, whether, she
Yeah.
didn't create something totally brand new or whatever, but just to be able to do that and to be able to sing and for it to sound so good for it, I expected it to not be pleasant to listen to, but she made it very
Yes.
appealing to sit and listen to her play through the song. All things aside, it wasn't AC/DC, it wasn't Back in Black, it wasn't rock version, whatever. She didn't fuck it up, is what I'm
No,
saying.
not no, she did an amazing job, and I'm gonna tell you why I have issues with what this song in general, but let me tag on to something else you said right there, though. She writing a song and changing a song from either rock or something else into acoustic, for me, I automatically go to slowing it down. And I think that was one of the issues I had with this is it wasn't slowed down. She kept that same meter for the song, not meter, beats per minute. She kept the same beats per minute for the song, and that's where I think I kind of fell off. When I think acoustic, I think of it slowing down and coming
Mhm.
back a little bit and stepping back a little bit. So, like for me, I for years wanted to do a version of Voulez-Vous by ABBA on acoustic. The beats per minute of that song is really fast, and I want to
Yeah.
slow it way down a half, maybe even less than half. And that's what I think of when I think of acoustic songs and covers. And when I saw it, I'm like, oh, hopefully she did it. She didn't, but it was amazing. But let me talk about the one thing about that this song brings out for me. And this is a rant, and I'm gonna rant, and I have issues with two different things well, three different things in music. I'm not going to talk about the third one today. One of them is the singer following the guitar line or the guitar following the melody line, one of the two. So when a
Yeah.
singer sings and the guitar riff or solo follows what he's singing and the same exact notes and everything, drives me nuts. I hate that. The other one is what happened, what stood out when she did this in this song. So at the end of the chorus, when they do back and they hold the A out, back,
Yep.
hate that. I hate when people hold a part of a word out in a song and then vary the tone or vary something else in it or hold it out just for it drives me nuts. And I the song kind of has that anyways, and I get it. But again, it's iconic. It's something that I've just listened to for so many years that I've kind of absorbed it, whatever. It's kind of a whatever thing. But her version of it made it stand out so much that it made me remember that that's why I had issues with the song going in the past was and it's any song like that. It's not just AC/DC, but any song like that where they take a word and they kind of stretch out the middle and then make it a verse or a song or a chorus of just that one word or the middle of a word drives me nuts. So yeah, that's my rant on songs. There.
Craig Sybert's pet peeve of the day.
Pet peeve of the day when it comes to music, 100%. And I don't apologize for it because it's my personal opinion. It bothers me. And the one where the guitar follows the singer on the melody line, that's almost an automatic turn off for me. I mean, I'm a huge Creed fan. Nobody can take that away from me, and you can't deny it. I will, praise them up and down, but there are songs that they've written where the music follows his voice and I won't listen to him. I will skip that song automatically. It drives me nuts. Anyway, okay, I'm off my soapbox. What do we got next? I love creating a music musing podcast. It lets me see how music affects people in different ways. We're always looking for interesting guests, so if you know someone in the music industry or someone who really has a great music related story, reach out to us at musicmusingfeedback@gmail.com. This podcast is produced out of my pocket, so if you want to help with that process, we also have a Patreon at patreon.com/musicmusing. You can join for as little as $1 a month, and we have some cool behind the scenes pictures and stories, and even a sticker. You could even co-host a show idea that you have rolling around in your head. And lastly, please leave us a great review on whatever platform you listen to your podcasts on. It helps us reach out to more people who may enjoy these conversations. Thank you for your time, and back to the Music Musing Podcast.
Well, I noticed we skipped right past the one with the hot chick in the tight leather pants.
Oh man, we can go back to that one because wow, was that like every 90s iconic, you know, everything was there. Yes, I even put there, look, uh, hair flips, tight leather pants, Les Paul shooting down on the Les Paul while they're playing it, a couple quick drum spins on the finger. I'm like, really? This is like so Brent. I mean, 90s rock.
Hey, hey
It,
now, hey now. You Hey, YouTube, MTV's calling, they want the '90s back.
it look, it wasn't bad. It actually wasn't bad. It was one of the ones that, I looked
Right?
at the
That was
Joe
one
Lynn
of the reasons why
yeah,
I put it on
yeah.
there.
I looked at the Joe Lynn Turner and the Phil Collen one, and it was again, it was just kind of the song itself was just kind of redone. This one was
Yep.
too, but she did actually add a pretty good flair to it. She really kind of stretched out a little bit and kind of did something different. Honestly, this is one of those ones where if I wouldn't have seen the video, I might have appreciated it more. I might have appreciated it a lot more if I wouldn't have seen the video.
I think there's a little bit of a gimmick there, yeah,
Yeah.
but you gotta give her props, though. You do
Yeah.
gotta give her props for having some pretty serious hardcore vocals.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I said. And even the music wasn't like I felt the first one we talked about was the guitars were a little over the top. Like they were really kind of showcasing Colin's guitar work. This wasn't really over the top. The guitar work was a little bit different, obviously, than the original song, but it really
Yeah.
wasn't, over the top, hurting my ears, bothering me, or
Right,
taking
well,
away
the
from the
band
song.
is good, and again,
Yep.
it's very well produced. I mean, the
Yep.
mix was great, the everything that they did, the tone of the guitars, all that kinda stuff. I thought it really drew me in, and it was the kind of rock metal that I enjoy, from a
Really?
stylistic
That's
perspective.
the kind of mellow you enjoy? I would have never guessed.
It's the groove that hooks me in, and especially when it sounds it's hard to explain,
No, no,
like
I got it. I was picking at you because
no, no,
I can guarantee that every one of those songs on this list is gonna be a an 80s, 90s hair metal sounding song. I don't care what song it is, but I expect it. So I look forward to hearing how good or bad it really is.
and I hunt them down
I
like
know
a
you do.
bulldog
It's
on a bone.
and I shouldn't have said anything because now it's gonna get worse. There's be like 5 on the next one of really 90s, 80s hair metal band
But
covers.
yeah, they're out there. They're out
Oh,
there
yeah.
all over the place, right?
Yes,
Not
they
like
are.
it's hard to find.
No.
Yeah.
I do wanna talk about the 40 Fingers one. Um,
Okay.
yeah. So, I'm a sucker for bluegrass music anyways. I kinda grew up with that with the mandolin, the banjo, and kinda playing along with the music and stuff. I'm a sucker for that kinda sound anyways. But when you put this one on here, I'm like, "Okay, well, I've heard a couple of the Hayseed something that does
Hasty
the,
Dixie.
Hasty DC, yeah, Hasty Dixie, there you go. I've heard that those guys do some covers, and they're almost doing it cliche. I mean, they're almost doing it to make fun of that genre, making fun of another song, and they're okay sometimes, but these guys were good. These
Yeah.
guys were amazing. I don't know if you remember the video, but the video, just them watching each other and going back with each other and kind of keeping in line with what they were playing next and stuff, it was amazing. I was really shocked how well they took the rock song and made it a bluegrass song.
Yeah, I mean, it was these guys, like, to your point, they're super talented. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it's like you're right. It was a different. I think that's the reason why I put it there. I mean, I think the Hasty Dixie thing kind of got old really fast once it made the rounds on the internet when they first did their first album thing or whatever.
Yep.
And so when I first saw this, I thought, oh, maybe it's just going to be that again. But it,
Yeah.
but this was another level. It was good. It was really good.
Yeah, it was, and there's a bridge at the end where they break off and do the bridge for the song, and they did kind of trade back and forth licks. It was amazing. I would honestly put this one on my regular playlist. It was that good. I really enjoyed this version of it. I'm glad you put it on there, and and I'm glad I took the chance to listen to it because some of them I'm like, I'm not. I'm going to listen like the first few seconds, and I'll talk about it
Yeah,
later.
why did
But
Brent do this to me
yeah, well, I
again?
read this weekend. But yeah, that one was fantastic. It was, and again, I think that's one where it's kind of the opposite. I think if I wouldn't have seen the video with this one, I probably wouldn't have. I still would have thought of it higher than the Hasty Dixie version, but I don't think I would have felt as strong about it as I do watching these guys play with each other and watching these guys bounce off each other. It was
Yeah.
really an amazing video. So
You know what I think I'll start doing when we're doing these spreadsheets is we're gonna have another column for genre, and
oh yeah,
we're
it's a
gonna
good idea.
Yeah, that way we can track the different types of genre that we have for each of the songs, but then the weird ones, we can also kind of start to invent our own genres or do a mix and match or
Make
whatever
up
it is.
our own.
We'll have fun trying to figure out what in the hell most of these genres are.
Yeah, and I think, and looking at all of these, I think we're probably gonna have the most of them in actual rock covers. I skipped over one. We talked about Metafunk earlier that was a funk version, and then you put Connor Engstrom Music on there, and it was kind of a funk version as well. Did you wanna take a break and listen to that one again,
Yeah,
or
let's take a break. Let me Oh, that
okay,
was the one
what
where they're walking in Vegas.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
Do you remember it, or
I do remember it, yeah.
okay.
So, first of all, swing is incredibly hard
Yes.
to do
In
at
general.
all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
But now it is such a different time and it's such a different groove to take a straight four beat song and swing it.
Yeah.
Yikes, right? And these
Yeah.
guys crushed it. I thought they did
Yeah.
a fantastic job.
I was let down a little bit because they 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 came to the was it the breakdown? Where did I put it? It was, like, there was the breakdown at the end. They did a breakdown and they brought in Thunderstruck. They kind of melded Thunderstruck into it. And AC/DC is a four on the floor band anyway, so it's 4/4. It's going to match up regardless. But
Right.
they brought that in, and I was like, I didn't need that. You kind of took it away from me. And yes, it's a tribute to AC/DC. I get it. Uh, there was the stand-up bass was a nice addition. The stand-up bass kind of line in there at the end, and the drum solo at the end was okay. But when they brought it to Thunderstruck, I'm like, man, if I would have stopped listening before this point, I've been like, this is a really good cover. I really like it, but they just took it away from me at the end like that. But I'll get over
Well,
it.
even
It
the
wasn't bad.
intro, right? Even like the first
Yeah,
like 20, 30 seconds of the song
yeah,
would probably mess with a lot of people's ears in their heads because
yes,
it's so like
different.
just it swings.
Yeah,
And if you're not used to listening to a swing band,
yeah,
and feeling that groove, it's like you want desperately to feel the AC/DC beat, but then they're forcing this
yeah,
intense swing groove on you.
yep.
And you're like, my head seriously had trouble
It,
wrapping my mind around it because I got the
same
swing
here.
groove, totally got it. But I've got AC/DC locked in my brain for the
Yep.
last, what, 30, 40
Yeah,
years now. And it's like, holy crap. And so trying that tension I think is what really made me interested in it though, because it makes you work to listen to the song.
yeah. I think that's a good point. There is. I think that when it started, you're right. I had a hard time. I didn't. I thought I clicked on the wrong song. I honestly thought that. Oh my gosh, I clicked on the wrong song. I need to go back and check my link because this isn't actually Back in Black. And then it started to come around, like you said, like, oh, it's their swing take on it. I get it. It's a little bit different. It's going to be different. Okay, it makes sense now. So yeah, I think that you're right. It was definitely a
It's hard.
confusion.
Trust me, and I don't say this in a mean way or anything. It's hard to listen
Yeah,
to. It's
it is.
really hard. You have to sit and you have to let go. You have to let go of the original click
Yeah,
track that is
yeah,
their drummer, the human click track,
yep.
and swing it. And oh my god.
Yeah, it was not.
Yeah, they
Phil
make you work
Rudd, I
for it, man,
think.
but they crushed it. I mean, that
Yeah.
drummer and those swing rhythms that he was able to put together was like, damn.
Yeah, it was
I
Phil
was
Rudd on drums, yeah. I was trying to think of who was on drums. Okay, last one I'm gonna talk about. I put it on there and you hadn't seen it, and I don't know if you actually listened to it or not, but so Shakira does a cover of Back in Black. It
heavy sigh.
do you it was in for the interest of science, man. I mean, I had to put it on there. It's like your baby one, your
I get it. I totally
Rockabye.
get it. Yeah.
So did you get a chance to listen to it?
I did a little bit,
Okay.
but let's do a pause and let's listen to
Yeah,
it again.
let's
Just
do,
to,
because you have to listen past it, and for everybody listening out there, if you're gonna take the pause and listen to this, it's the Shakira version. It is a live version. You gotta listen past. You gotta listen past the first verse and then kind of see where it goes after that. So I'm telling you the same thing, Brent. You gotta listen
yep.
past the first little verse. I'm gonna pause it. We'll go listen, okay?
Okay.
So I like Shakira's voice anyways. I'm a big fan of Shakira's voice. She is an amazing vocalist. When this song started out, I'm like, ooh, she's gonna do something different. It sounds really good, and she's giving it her touch. And then it started, and I'm like, oh well, man,
Now here they go again, just
yeah,
doing a
here they
jam
go
song
again
at
with
a
the same.
concert, and
But
dang it.
but she still kept the vocals a kind of a little more bluesy and rhythm and blues feel. I felt that she still,
And in her quite honestly, in
yeah,
her style, in
yeah.
her voice, with her, um, Latin.
Yeah, inflection and her,
Yeah.
yeah, and her slowing down the verses a little bit and dragging the words out a little bit longer. So I did
Yeah.
appreciate it. I did actually. It was worth the listen once. I probably wouldn't go back and listen to it again. But I loved how she really kind of took that opening and made it very, very rhythm and blues, very kind of late, blues style rhythm and blues feel to
Yeah, it's like every guy that was dragged to that concert with, their, girlfriend, and then they're like, "Fuck yeah, go Shakira. Yeah, okay, now
it.
I'm glad I'm here,
Yeah.
alright."
And it kicked in, and I'm like, "Oh, well, but the guys did good, and for a live, recording, the production was really good. The guitars were actually all in level. The guitar player really, didn't veer too far from the original sound. The solo was
Yeah.
even close to Angus's solo. So it was good. It
See,
was just a
in
good.
certain instances, I think so when you're making these choices, I think both as a producer and as an artist and whatnot, when your audience may or may not necessarily be of a particular genre, when
Yeah.
you do a popular song that is outside of your genre, I think it is the best choice to keep it very close to the original, because that's what
Yes.
most inexperienced music listeners expect. Like, they're
Yes.
not going to be impressed if she starts really taking it weird,
Yeah.
or the guitar player does something totally weird. There's like 0.5% of the audience is going to go, "Ooh, I like how he, Mixolydian with that
Yeah.
instead of, and he
Yeah.
changed it up." And there's a key change halfway through it, nobody's going to care. It's like, is it AC/DC or is it not?
Yeah.
And that's all they want.
And it's Shakira singing AC/DC, so let's keep it as close as we can. Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely go along with that. Uh, so what do we got next? Have we got any ideas
I
cooked
don't
up?
know. It
I
feels
I
like it's been so long, I haven't put a lot of thought into it, to be honest.
I definitely want to jump back to the pop stuff. I think the look and the, Take on Me were, of what we've done so far, I think that those are the favorites, and I think I wanna look for something pop.
Okay.
I know the challenge we face is enough covers to do. But I think if we
Right.
pick something popular enough, I think we'll be fine. But wrap your heads around it. And this is, everyone listening to this podcast, give us your ideas.
Yeah.
MusicMusingFeedback@gmail.com. Send us emails or comment on the YouTube page to let us know what you think would be a good song. Preferably like pop 80s, or like even late 80s, early 90s pop songs. We're looking for something that's got a lot of
I'm thinking
covers.
80s or earlier. Let's just keep
Yeah, there you
people
go.
stuck
Okay.
there,
Fair
right? And
enough.
if you can, and start with the metal, if you can find a really cool metal version, and then just go crazy from there,
Yeah.
because that's what we do.
Yes. Yes. Brent, thanks again for coming on. You've been my go-to on this cover thing, and I think we're going to continue this on a regular basis. I appreciate you coming
Excellent.
on and talking to me, though.
I love doing it, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Yep. Thanks, man. Have a good one.
You too, buddy.
Yep. Thank you for choosing Music Music. We hope this story not only gave you a little insight to what music means to someone, but it may also change how music fits into your life. So be sure and drop us a line at musicmusingfeedback@gmail.com and let us know your music story.